And welcome to the Long Game Podcast. Today's guest, Caleb Lomavita, Eva's very own St. Louis alum, a former star with the California Golden Bears, and a first-round pick with the Washington Nationals. Just wrapped up your first full season in the minor league system with the Nationals. A star catcher. Caleb, thank you so much for being here. And how are you enjoying the off-season?
I think it's going great. I'm spending a lot of time with my family, getting to enjoy the beach a lot more because the East Coast, it's a lot different. Not a lot of water around me, especially in Delaware or Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So getting as much time in the water as possible and chilling with my cousins.
From the outside looking in, it seems as if baseball and pro baseball has like the best schedule of all the pro sports because you go straight through from February to the fall, but then you have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's all open up for you.
I really like that schedule. Even in college, you did get to go home for the holidays, so that you got to spend Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Everyone knows that New Year's in Hawaii is the biggest festival in all the world, so you'll see fireworks going off in Eva Beach. And I've never missed it, and I don't plan on missing it.
Right.
I think that I really should enjoy it a little more because thinking about it now, like basketball players, football players, they have to play on these holidays, and my teammates and my fellow baseball players, they take it for granted, I think, sometimes. So I make sure I enjoy my family during these times.
A good time to have quality family time. So recap for me. So this was your first full year because you played rookie ball shortly after you got drafted. You started off in a major league camp with the Nationals this past season.
Yep.
Right.
I was blessed with the opportunity to play in big league camp with the big leaguers. I got to go into the locker room, got to practice with them. So I think the clarity of seeing the way big leaguers react to certain situations and the way they handle themselves throughout the process of training or spring training, it really was an eye opener because there's a reason why they're big leaguers. The way they go about their business. They get to the field at 6 a.m. They get their lift in. They get their recovery in. You see what they eat, what they drink, and there's no secret to it. I mean, they get their work in, and it is very intentional. You see the way they hit in the cage. They do certain drills. It's not Little League. You see these big guys. They're 35 years old, and they're taking care of their body so well. They're just as in shape as I am, and I think I'm in my prime, but they could run laps around me if they really wanted to.
They tackle the process.
They do.
Right? And they embrace the process. I've covered you for a very long time, Caleb. So, you're known to thrive in big moments. But as you're going through big league camp, was there a starstruck moment that you had?
I was a little baby. I knew I was the little baby walking around. The big league catchers, a couple of guys had 5 years of time with service in the big leagues. A couple guys had 3. I was going through my first spring training, and they were all telling me their stories like, hey, my first big league camp was 3 years into it, and Andrew Kisner, he was with the Cardinals, and Yadier Molina was a MLB catcher at the time. So he said, you get into the locker room, you shut up, you listen to him, and whatever he's doing, you follow, because that is the golden boy of the Cardinals, and that is who represents the best catchers in the entire nation. I mean, Yachty is the best to do it. And to be kind of under his wing, he explained that there was a strict process that you needed to follow. And if you wanted to slack off, then you were kind of just taking your eyes off the main goal, which was playing for a long time in the big leagues. So just getting the stories from all the big league catchers, all the veterans, it was pretty awesome to hear.
You definitely see the pecking order.
Yep.
Right, as you're immersed in all of it. We're going to be talking more about your time with the Nationals as we go into this. I want to go back to the beginning. Recall for me when you got started playing baseball. What was your first league that you were in?
My first league had to have been T-ball at Mexico Park with the Tar Heels. I couldn't even tell you my coach's name. I was 4 years old. I just finished playing soccer, my first soccer season. And that was pretty much football for me. I was running kids over, really naughty on the field. But I didn't really have the love that I gained for baseball at the time. Once I stepped on the baseball field, my parents knew, my family knew. And I think as I kept playing, that's all I knew. That was my identity. I just wanted to play baseball every season, whatever league I can hop into, whatever backyard baseball game with my little cousin I could get into. I just did it.
What was it about it that had you gravitate toward that sport more?
I'm not really sure. I think I have ADHD, so I really just couldn't stop moving around. But the game of baseball, it's a lot of patience. It's really slow paced. So I don't know what drew me into a game like that. I know that the big moment really showed itself and presented itself as something that I really wanted to be in that big moment. Everybody knows 3-2, 2 outs, man at third base, winning run. Everybody wants to be in that moment, right? So chasing that dream of being in that moment kind of is what brought me back to baseball every single time, because when you do succeed in that moment, it's the best feeling in the world. And I haven't experienced anything better than that so far.
Yeah, it's got to be a chicken skin feeling, right?
Yep.
Were you always playing catcher, even from a young age?
I was not. I was a shortstop my entire life. Shortstop pitcher. I was 8th grade varsity at St. Louis. As a shortstop, I but I got to practice behind Keith Torres. I think he was player of the year his senior year, and I was a little 8th grader playing right behind him. Got to follow in his footsteps. Really good shortstop. He played at Sacramento State. And then my freshman year, Coach Gus asked me if I could catch, and I said, I mean, why not? I want to play as much as I could. So he put me behind the plate. I was able to do it. I'm not going to say I was good at it. I was able to do it. So my freshman year, I caught at St. Louis on the varsity team. And then sophomore year came around. He said, hey, can you play first base? So I've never done it, but I played shortstop. So played first base and I pitched. And then junior year rolls around. COVID happened. I was supposed to be the center fielder that year. And my senior year, I was a center fielder, pitcher, and I caught a little bit just because they knew I was committed to Cal as a catcher pitcher. So I've been all around the field. I think that helped me gain a lot more knowledge for the game, raised my baseball IQ, and gave me the clarity again to gain respect for everyone else on the field, because everyone has their own job. Everyone is just as important as the guy next to them. So I think, yeah.
When we've done interviews with him, legendary Crusaders baseball coach George Gussman has spoke glowingly about you, and the fact that you have a can-do attitude, willing exactly to play any sort of position, even though you're committed to college as a catcher pitcher, that, okay, we can move Caleb around and he could lean on you as a young guy. Before you got to St. Louis, did you do a lot of travel ball?
Not really. No, I got to St. Louis and my dream wasn't to play at the next level. I didn't really know how to. I didn't have a clear-cut path. I didn't have anyone in the family that played professional or even college baseball. So it wasn't a dream of mine. I knew that the big leagues was really cool, but coming from a little city in Eva Beach, you see that it's possible, but you're not like, hey, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and that's how I'm going to get there. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to take it one step at a time. So I got to St. Louis, made a lot of friends, gained a lot of teammates throughout my journey. And one day they were like, hey, you need to go to this travel ball camp at Midpack. It's with Cottle. I'm like, it's $400. What do you mean that I'm going to have to pay to play baseball? And a lot of my team was like, hey.
Scouts were going to be there?
Just a travel ball team.
Okay.
Just a travel ball team. So TB SoCal and Cottle Baseball is there. And then I was like, hey, okay. I talked to my dad. He was like, hey, if you want to go, just go to the first day. If you enjoy it, then just stay. But if not, then we can go home. So he didn't put a lot of pressure on me. I went, I played catch, and I guess that was enough to catch the travel ball coach's eye. So Ryan Thompson comes up to me. He said, hey, you're going to come play with us in Arizona this year. I said, hey, my name is Caleb. Nice to meet you. And that presented an opportunity to me that would change my life. I ended up playing on TB SoCal.
How old were you?
I was 15
okay.
at the time. I just turned 15.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't come from a really wealthy background. So my dad, he spent a little bit of the summer with me, but he had to work. So the coach really blessed me with the opportunity to live with him. So I would live with him, travel to all these travel ball games, and I would just hitch a ride. And he really guided me through that journey. He became a second dad to me, and I really appreciate him. Benny Bonilla, shout out to you. And then I played in my first tournament. I did really well. I caught, I played shortstop, I pitched, and that opened a lot of doors for me. I ended up getting looks from Team USA, and then I ended up making Team USA as a 15-year-old on the 16U team because I was late born, so everyone was 16. But that's kind of how I started my journey of travel ball.
How instrumental, because we're seeing so many of these young Hawaii baseball players kind of tackle and navigate, whether it be the youth leagues starting in like Hawaii Kai, Mililani, or Eva, Manoa, and trying to see how should we approach the travel ball circuit. How instrumental did you find, though, that taking those trips were helpful on getting on the radar of colleges and getting more exposure?
I think there's an importance on keeping the game fun for your child. There's a fine line between making this a business trip and a fun baseball trip. When I got to travel to Maui with my, not travel ball team, but my club team growing up, the Eva Naturals and Knuckleheads, we kept it fun trips. We got to go.
I love these names.
Yeah. It's like minor league.
That keeps it fun.
Yeah, it keeps it fun. But you travel to Maui and you're not even thinking about baseball. You're thinking about the pool. You're thinking about going to all these new places on Maui and Kauai. But that's what kept the game fun. And then you come back to St. Louis. You get to spend all day in class studying, because that's the best part about going to St. Louis is the academics. And then you go to the field. You're not thinking about getting better on the baseball field. You're thinking about joking around with your friends, keeping it light. But as you get older, it does turn into a business. And you want to try to elongate how long you can keep the game fun. If you turn it into a business too early, if you think training at 5 a.m. as a 10-year-old is going to get you there, it's not, because it's going to wear you down. You're not going to have that love for the game, the passion for the game that most of these Dominicans, most of these really good baseball players have, because to come out to the field every single day and do this, it's pretty tiring sometimes, and you have to make the choice whether you're going to put in your 100% effort or not.
What was it like playing at St. Louis under Gusman? Because looking back at some of those teams, so you played on a team that had Iva Arquette, yourself, Nu'u Contrades, and this is during a time where COVID kind of sacked the season. So, to see what those teams could have done in a state tournament, we never had that opportunity. But just wrap up your time playing with the Crusaders on those teams.
It's so weird because I always got to play with the player of the year. Keith Torres, like I said, he was a player of the year in my 8th grade year when I got to practice with them. Nu'u at the time, I think he won it his senior year, Gatorade Player of the Year. And then Sean was also a freshman.
Sean Yamaguchi,
yeah. Yes, he was a really good baseball player. And then I had Iva. He was a basketball Gatorade Player of the Year. And I was surrounded by all these athletes, but you don't really see them as all these guys you put on a pedestal. You just see him as the guy that drives a dropped Ford Frontier, or the guy that has the sounds in his truck, and you get to go 7-Eleven with him, and you don't really see the accolades until after. But you're all putting in the same amount of work, and you're all going through this grind together. So you kind of see it as a brotherhood, and not, oh man, look at what this guy's doing. You're like, yeah, I'm going through this struggle with him. So I think appreciating what they've done because you've gone through it with them, it just makes like their accomplishments a lot more sweeter, because you got to be in that process with them.
Mm-hmm. How did the college process play out for you? Because COVID affected a lot of people, and especially when it became talking about the transition from high school sports to looking at how things are going to be playing out with college athletics. So how did that kind of unfold from your end?
It didn't really affect me too much. I got there and freshmen weren't allowed to stay in the dorms, so we just had to find our own place outside of campus. It didn't really affect.
But it was always Cal? Did Cal jump on recruiting you early, or were there other schools involved beforehand?
I had the opportunity to commit before COVID, which I got really lucky with. I committed, I think it was on my birthday of my junior year, so it was 2 months before COVID. And I think if I had to commit after that, before all the ruckus and all the drop scholarships, I would have been in a bad place, because I would have been worried. But luckily, I did commit. and that made my process a lot easier. It gave me the mental stability to just go out on the field and play. It came down to Cal Berkeley, UCLA, a lot of West Coast schools. I know I wanted to stay close to the West Coast so my parents could come out and watch me play. And I really just enjoyed the environment at Cal Berkeley. I enjoyed Mike New, Noah Jackson. They seemed to be very genuine in my development as a baseball player and a human being. So that's what I was really looking for. How could I develop to be the best man I could be as long with being the best baseball player I can be?
Did you get any elaborate recruiting pitches from these schools?
No, it was before NIL, so I didn't have anything too crazy. It was just the, hey, we're gonna offer you this, not no GMC truck, penthouse. It wasn't too crazy, but
check your bank account
Yeah.
in the next 24 hours.
It was a big envelope.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't too crazy. They really had to bribe you with the environment and your teammates, so they got to shadow a teammate, and it was Keyshawn Ogans at the time. He was a freshman while I was doing my visit to Cal Berkeley, and he made it amazing. I mean, hats off to him. He got me there. So I think with all this NIL coming around, it's a lot different. There's a lot more bribery involved and a lot, I wouldn't say shadier stuff, but it's just different than what I was going through in high school.
I think you can definitely get in the arena of shady stuff happening.
Yeah.
I think that's safe to say when you see how certain transactions play out. You said Cal seemed very genuinely interested in your development as both a baseball player and just a young adult navigating the world. How did you find your experience at Cal shaped you, athletically, and it helped you improve as a catcher and kind of prepare you for the business of baseball?
Yeah. When I got to Cal, I thought it was just going to be baseball. But the beauty of Cal is they treat you as a student athlete. They see you as a student first. You got into the school as a student to get your degree, and then you're the athlete. So you're not getting tutors every single day. You're not trying to pay somebody to do your homework. You got to get your degree on your own because it's a prestigious degree, and everyone else is working hard around you to get the same degree. So I think that made me mature in my own way because I wanted to play baseball at Cal. I wasn't really focused on the school or the education.
Was that also kind of the point in life where you felt like, okay, pro baseball is an avenue that can really open up here from your time at Cal? Or did you realize that beforehand?
I knew I wanted to play pro baseball outside of high school. Right when I got out of high school, the draft, I didn't end up getting drafted. So I ended up taking the avenue of going to Cal Berkeley. And that was still the goal of mine, to get drafted as high as possible and to work my butt off at Cal to mature a little bit. And Cal did allow me to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's huge, right? And I think baseball, when it comes to the transition to going into pro ball, it seems to be a system that works where you have to spend 3 years in school. So that helps you develop in a number of ways.
Yep.
Did you find that was rewarding?
I did find that really rewarding. The first year, it was like I was a freshman in high school all over again. You think your top shot coming out of high school, your senioritis is taking over, and then you get to campus and it's like, hey, I don't care you played on Team USA. I don't care you're ranked number 1 out of high school. You're playing college baseball now, and it's a whole different ball game because guys are 25-year-olds, red shirts that are still playing this game. So you're not playing with little kids anymore. You're playing with grown men who have played in college for 5 years. And if you don't humble yourself and try to figure out how you can get better every day, they're just going to take their talent that they've had for the past 5 years and just trample all over you. So to hang around with the big dogs is something you need to learn and kind of just understand that process and develop yourself to be prepared for that.
Or is there a moment in your freshman year where, young Caleb Lomavita got humbled by one of these older guys?
I kind of stand my ground pretty well. I don't really like to get shown up by other people, but I do it in a very humble way because I like to make friends with everyone. I pick everyone's brain. I try to gain the respect of especially the older guys who have been there. I never try to step over their authority. I know they've been there. They're the veterans. And you see the line that it goes down. I'm the freshman. you need to stay humble. You're not the one that's been there. You don't understand what the coaching process is like. You don't understand what the conditioning mornings, the weight rooms. You're only in your third week. You don't put yourself on a pedestal. So there's a process that you need to go through. And when you get to your junior year, what you've done your freshman and sophomore year gave you the tools to be ready, to be that leader, and to be just ready for your next venture in life, which would be pro ball.
You enjoyed at Cal a lot of early success. So I'm curious, after your sophomore year, going into your junior season, were there conversations where, I mean, especially when we see it nowadays, it's so rampant with transfers and schools courting players and everything. It's out of control now. But were there times where other schools tried to enter the conversation to see, like, okay, what would it take to get Caleb to come to the SEC or the Big Ten? Was there anything like that?
Just conversations with teammates. There was nothing too crazy going on. Like, somebody got my phone number, but I'd never entered the portal. I didn't plan on entering the portal. I know that can get a little messy sometimes. Something that really stuck with me through that process of the NIL, the money, the fame, the penthouse, it can really get to your head. There's pros and cons to everything. If you think the grass is greener on the other side, it's not really. If you transfer out, you need to think about things like you're on a brand new team. You're going to have to get comfortable playing with new teammates, new coaching style. Your routine is messed up because now you don't know if you can wake up early in the morning, get your weights in, have the same things to eat every single day. And it's just a lot that goes into it that people don't really think about because they see the big things like the money, the cars, the houses. But I think for younger athletes out there, you need to take everything and put it all on paper and see the pros and the cons and actually weigh out your options, not just look at the really shiny, pretty things.
Why was it important for you to remain with the Golden Bears?
I really wanted to go to a regional and make a national championship game with them, just because they formed me my freshman and sophomore year. They cared for me and they understood what it took for me to get better every day. And I gained a lot of respect for them, the coaches, my teammates. They made it home for me. If I left them, I felt like it sounds cliche, but I was losing a part of myself. If I had to jump on a new team my junior year, I don't know if I would have had the same amount of passion for the games. Because when you're playing on the field, you're really lonely because you're playing your position. Everyone needs to succeed at their position in order to win a game. If I'm not playing for my teammate, it's kind of hard to finish a game and want to win. Mm-hmm. If I left, that would be the case. But if I stayed at Cal, I know Tucker's on the mound. I know Peyton Schultz is at first base. I know Carson Crawford is at shortstop and JJ's at second. I know what he can pick at second base. I know what Peyton Schultz likes to do when I want to back pick. It's those little things that help you win a game and just makes the game easier for you to be successful.
And everything aligned perfectly, right? You stay there. You have an outstanding junior season. You raise your pro stock and more pro teams get involved and you're getting a lot of looks from analysts and the major league scouts. When did that really pick up for you and kind of how did you see how that stage was really picking up on your end?
You don't really know you're high on someone's radar till the scouts start showing up. The league I was in for summer ball, Cape Cod League, it's a very prestigious league. There's a lot of scouts at every game. You see the top prospects of every conference, every team, and they're all there. So all the scouts want to watch all them play. I know that scouts were not there to watch me, but I was presented the opportunity to play in front of them. So Coach
Why do you say that they weren't there to watch you?
Well, you go into it. I was a little sophomore at the time. Okay. So then again, I was at the bottom of the barrel, and it's not my time yet. You always got to look at it. It's not my time yet. If you're not getting what you want, it's just not my time yet. You need to trust the process, trust in God's process. And if you think that everyone is there to watch you, you're going to put this unneeded pressure on yourself, which I got lucky that I never did because I had that mindset of, oh, they're not here to watch me, but let me prove to them that they should be here to watch me. So you see these big names play against you and you're like, hey, it's time to show up, show out. And then I did that a couple of games in a row, kept doing it consecutive games. And then scouts started to come to Cal, start filling up the seats. And you're like, hey, I'm just playing catch, but why are there 40 scouts in the stands? And you don't really know what they're looking at. So you're trying to do everything perfect. But then you realize there's a reason why they showed up. So you just keep doing your process and what got you there and just trust it.
You're having all these guys line up watching your warm-up session?
Yeah. It's fun. It's cool until you make your first mistake and you feel like the world's ending. But then you need to realize, like, they want to see you fail sometimes, because when you face adversity, there's been a lot of questions in interviews at the draft combine about what's some adversity you've been through and how did you handle it. They want to see you handle adversity, because in a 150 or 180 game season, it's not going to be perfect.
Right.
The game of baseball is a game of failure, and you're going to fail more than 70% of the time. And if you fail 70% of the time, then you're a successful baseball player, which I think is pretty crazy to me.
So your advice would be to kind of, like, for these guys in position, like, get out of your own head. If you strike out in front of these scouts, it's not the end of the world. It's
not the end of the world, because they know that there are big leaguers out there that have longer streaks than what you think you're experiencing. And if you get down on yourself and you don't know how to overcome that piece of adversity, that's probably a 3-game stretch, how are you going to be able to handle yourself in a 180 game stretch? You know what I mean?
How did you enjoy your Cape Cod League experience? Because for those who don't know, this is the premier summer showcase where the nation's top college baseball players, they spend the summer out there. They stay with families, right? How did you enjoy it and kind of soak it all in?
You have a host family. You have a car if you live on the East Coast, but if you live in Hawaii, you are a 12-hour flight away, no car, no family around the area. So it's pretty lonely. You're playing every day. It's like your first little taste of pro ball. You have a wooden bat in your hand. You have scouts watching you. Every game's important because you have the top prospects, like you said. And at first, it could be a little scary, but when you realize that if you can't do that, then you probably don't deserve to be playing at the next level. If you can succeed in that, then you can succeed in the next level, because the players that you're playing there are probably highly likely that you're going to be playing at the next level.
Yeah, and I like that the format has remained the same, where you have these star prospects staying with host families in the middle of New England, you know, for the summer. I think it's a really cool balance to have from what these guys are seeing. How many years did you go to Cape Cod?
2 years.
2 years, okay. When did agents get involved?
Agents, I did have an advisor in high school and college. I ended up switching to Boris, which is a pretty good agency, and they really helped me through my college journey. It was more so the mental aspect of it. They had people who could talk to you at any moment. They had the knowledge of guys like Barry Bonds. They told me stories about him and what he did when he hit slumps, or what he felt like in the box during these certain moments. And having that really helped me to see the bigger picture and not be so focused on your little failure. They also have a lot of, I think, people that could...
And just to let everyone know, we're talking about Scott Boris, who is a superstar baseball agent and has decades-long history of making big deals, representing the big-time players, huge transactions, right? Yeah. So how does it go where, you know, you're working with them, and when conversations with pro teams want to happen, how does having an agent help with that?
When you know that you have an agent that will stand by your side and will not take any bullying from teams, you have this pillar that won't move, and you want to stand behind that pillar because you know they'll protect you. And having Boris there and the rest of his co-workers, they really just help you focus on the game of baseball and not the business side, because the business side could get messy. And once I joined them, I said, hey, I trust you guys. I don't know what you guys are going to do for me. They presented what they're going to do for me. And I said, hey, you guys got the business side. I don't want to do it with any teams. I don't want to have to focus on money. I don't want to have to focus on trades, nothing. The draft part, I just want to go out on the field, keep the game fun for me, and focus on the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing.
Mm-hmm. How did you get that mentality of, because I think a lot of young guys can get kind of wrapped up in like, okay, well, Scott Boras is my agent. Okay, so you have to, all of a sudden you put yourself at a different spot. But how did you kind of have the mentality of like, okay, I know this is what I want here, and I don't want this to be a distraction. This is how I'm going to tackle this process.
Being a pro baseball player or a professional in general, it's all about trying to limit your distractions. If you have distractions, if you go out to parties and you're focused on the wrong things, then the ability to play on the field kind of diminishes. And if you can keep the main thing and stay in your avenue with your head on straight, then you will be successful. If you know what to follow, then that's how you will succeed. And I've always stuck my head on the straight and narrow, because once you start to veer off, it's really hard to turn that car back on the street.
Mm-hmm. So it really plays out where, let's say if several teams wanted to talk to you, how do you handle that situation? Is it
in college?
Yeah, in college.
I would text my agents, say,
thank you for your interest, but I would talk to this guy.
I would be like, hey, this guy's want to talk to me. They're like, hey, they're not that important. Just leave them on red. I'm like, okay, that makes my job easy. And there came to a point where they're like, hey, you're really high up on these guys' lists, so only talk to these people. If it's the general manager, the manager, the head scout, then give them a call back. If it's not worth the time.
How many workouts did you do leading up to the draft?
One. I did one with the Detroit Tigers. They told me they were pretty high on their list, so they wanted to do a workout back at Cal. So I left Hawaii, did a little workout for one day, and then came back home. They were pick 11, so I think pick 11 would have been really cool for me to land, but the stars didn't line up that way.
Take us inside what a major league workout looks like when you're a high-end college prospect.
Well,
what's the format of it? How do you approach it? What do they have you do?
They want to see your routine. They want to see if you're able to handle what you have set for yourself. There's a lot of guys that think, hey, you need to run the 60 this fast. You need to hit this hard. You need to hit this far. You need to throw this hard. But they really wanted to see what my routine looked like. They wanted to see my tee routine, my cage routine, flips, machine. They didn't tell me what to do. If you got there and were like, hey, like, I don't really know what to do off the tee, I don't know how to hit the machine like this, then it just shows them a little bit about yourself that you should have at the next level. So that's kind of a knock on you. If you have a good routine, they'll be like, hey, just show us your routine on how you hit and get ready for the games. And if you have a routine down to the tee, they'll be like, hey, this guy's prepared. This guy's ready for war during the game.
Mm-hmm. Who did they have come down to watch you?
I want to say, I forget. It was his last name was Haas, and he was a scouting director for the time, okay. I think. So it was pretty important people. I had Braden come out, and I had, I think it was Champerino. They came out. They made sure that everything ran smoothly.
But a lot of their front office guys.
Yeah, it was a private workout. So I did prepare for that moment like it was an actual game that I needed to succeed in. They really wanted to just use that to put me in an environment where I was comfortable and then drill me with questions. So it was more of an interview than to see what I can do on the field.
Ask you questions in the middle of the workout.
Yes. Talk to me about my hitting routine while I'm in the cage. They want to see what my mentality was in the box. And it was just question after question. And you're like, hey, they're really not watching me hit. I think they've already watched me play 62 games, and they have a pretty good idea of what I can do on the field. So I think that's their way of understanding your game at the next level.
Right. Yeah, because typically players aren't taking questions in the batter's box during a game, right? No. Were they throwing you any odd questions? Just to kind of like throw you off and see what what is the science behind these things, right? To see what your quick thinking, quick wit skills are.
I guess I don't remember any questions that were really crazy. I just remember them asking about game planning. They're asking me about my approach in the box. They're asking me what kinds of things happen when I struggle. They really want to see what you really think about in the box and how you process the game. So it wasn't too crazy in that sense.
So you do one workout that was for the Tigers. I can imagine you're also having side conversations with a number of other teams as well, other interviews during that time.
No, I kept it to the minimum. Once I got home, I really wanted to just spend time with family. My agents did a really good job of understanding that your off season is short, and I had the span of 2 weeks until the draft to spend as much time with my family as possible, because once you get drafted, you're sent out a week later and you're already playing games. So training at home was important. Being with my family was important, and just it was a quiet time. I didn't really spend too much time talking to scouts. I did get to go to the draft combine, which I did most of the talking there. I had 27 interviews, and they all lasted an hour. So I was getting drilled with questions for 10 hours a day for 3 days straight. It was really crazy.
What was draft day like for you?
Draft day was pretty fun. You wake up in the morning, you know that there's a really high chance of you getting drafted, watching all the mock drafts. And there's that doubt in the back of your head, like always. There's always going to be that little voice like, hey, what if you don't get drafted today? But my sisters and my family did a really good job of keeping my head on straight and making sure that I was calm, and I understood that whatever happens today happens, and it's going to happen for a reason. And when I got that call for the 39th pick to the 49th. I don't remember.
39th.
39th, right? Sorry. To the Washington Nationals. It was like the world lifted off my shoulders, because that was my dream as a little kid, but I never knew the process of getting there, but I got there somehow. I did everything right, I guess. So it meant the world to me. And then you get to pro ball and you're like, wait, that was the little step to the next big dream of mine.
What do you remember about that conversation? Because while you could say it is a little step, I can imagine your parents and your family are thinking, like, they remember every bit of that talk or that phone call.
They do. When I got the call, my parents came in the room with me, and I was on the phone with Boris, and he told me I was going to go to the Nationals. And at first, it felt pretty surreal. I didn't know whether to cry or be happy, or what kind of emotions I was having. I was really anxious to hear my name on the TV, because it was more of I'll believe it when I see it. So I go back on the couch. I'm waiting for the TV, and then I finally hear my name, and everyone was proud of me around me. And they knew that was my dream as a little boy, but my brain went straight to, all right, I got drafted. What's the next step? I'm not going to be so happy about this that I'm going to be complacent now. It's always, hey, what can I do next? What can I do next?
Mm-hmm. What did you, when you immediately fly out for rookie ball, what did you notice as the differences between pro and the level you were seeing in college? About just kind of like, okay, what does that next tier look like skill set wise?
The only difference was the way that coaches hold your hand through the process. In high school, it was, hey, show up at the field this time. We're going to do this drill, and this drill. You're going to be with this group. And then in college, it's, here's what the schedule looks like. You guys live on your own. Find your way to the field. Get your work done, and then leave. In pro ball, it was a lot different. It was, hey, show up to the field. And you're like, okay, and what? So you get to the field. You need to make your own routine so that you're ready for the game to come at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whenever the start is. You show up to the field when the locker room opens. You get your routine done. Nobody's holding your hand through this process. Nobody cares if you do nothing at all. So it's all what you put into it. And that's the craziest part about professional baseball is nobody cares if you succeed or fail. Just make sure you get your stuff done.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you do before you get to the field is on you. Okay.
You can eat a chocolate shake in the morning with a burger, and show up and hit 5 homers for everyone
Right.
that does that.
That's that. No one's meal prepping.
That. No, yeah.
Analytics wise, what did you find that playing pro ball, what they take a look at, and kind of take us inside about the resources that some of these teams have to help you develop and be better constantly?
For the Nationals, it was
And also, too, before we can start with that, the Nationals, right? This was an organization during the draft process, and remember Scott Boras saying this, was that this is a team that's known to help a lot of young talent, right?
Yes,
And be very, beneficial working with these young guys. So what did you see?
So, like you said, Juan Soto came through that organization. Bryce Harper came through that organization, and now they're arguably the best baseball players to step foot on the diamond. And going in it, I was really excited. They have a lot of things to help you with. There's TrackMan, there's Hawkeye, there's pressure pads that you stand on while you hit. There's a lot of things that could track you, but they don't force it on you. They say, hey, what do you need to get better on the field? And if you say, hey, I need force plates to track my swing to see what my weight distribution looks like, then they'll get that for you. If you need Hawkeye to see what your swing looks exactly like, then they'll get that for you. If you need TrackMan to see what pitches you're swinging at, they'll have that for you. But if you say, hey, I go out on that field and I just play ball, then they'll be like, hey, go play ball, because they just want to see you succeed, and they want to give you the resources you need to succeed.
What would you say is the most valuable resources that you found working with them and playing at the pro level right now?
I think it's probably the preparation part. There's all kinds of apps that you can watch to study guys' swings. So before every series, I will look at the top 5 hitters in the organization that we're playing, and I will study their swings. I will make sure that they won't beat us if they're their best hitters. Make sure that they won't beat us. I'll know their weaknesses, their strengths. I'll know my pitcher's strengths, my pitcher's weaknesses, and I'll try to just weave a game plan with that. And it's really cool. You can look at what kind of damage they do on a certain pitch, what locations they hunt, and it helps me write up a really good game plan to be successful and help my pitcher out on that aspect. So I think that really helps me as a catcher.
That's crazy. I'm envisioning just a plethora of real-time data coming in and to being able to see it. So does it work where you do an at-bat or, you do a catching session, and in the half of the inning you can see right after how it played out?
Yep.
And kind of like what to do differently next time?
Yeah. So if you want in-game data, you can either just think about how you called your sequencing the first time and then change it the second time. Or you can look at the iPad, see how you pitch to them, see if they're on time. There's videos of when their foot lands, where their contact point was. And you can take that all and whatever you want to do with it, you do with it.
This is a baseball nerd's paradise.
Yeah.
Because baseball fans, especially the ones that are really deep into it, get really wrapped up into the video and everything like that. So to hear about firsthand what these analytics look like, that's something else.
It is. There's a lot more to the game that I didn't understand until I got to pro ball. I got to call a little bit of the games in my junior year with a little bit of video, but the amount of video and how in-depth you can get in professional baseball, there is no secrets to anyone anymore. Your weaknesses are going to be exploited, and everyone knows what you can or can't hit, and you're never going to get what you can hit anymore. So I don't know how Shohei Ohtani does it, because he's unbelievable.
Because that teams are losing their mind trying to look at every little thing. Take Shohei, for example, right? Every team is looking at what is his tick, what throws him off, and for him to keep delivering. So seeing all these analytics, did it increase your appreciation for the game and your position?
Oh, yes. I'm controlling the game, and if we lose the game, I think it's on me. We're the unsung heroes. So if we succeed, it's not on me. The pitchers did a great job. The fielders did a great job. Hitters brought in runs. But if we fail, look who called the game. And why wasn't he prepared enough to get these set of guys out? So there's really an appreciation for a catcher that I didn't have until I actually had to control the entire game.
Doing interviews with minor league baseball players in the past, they talk about trips to places you never expect in the country, playing in all these different stadiums. What are some of the memories that stand out to you about going through this pro ball circuit? And because you finished the year in Double-A, right?
Yep.
What are some of the memories that stand out about just kind of how cool this entire experience has been?
I think the first memory I have is getting pampered at the big league stadium when I'm about to sign my contract. I'm getting just driven around everywhere. I have a chauffeur. They have dinner for me wherever I go. And they're like, hey, like, it's time to go to Florida. It's time to get the work in. I get to Florida and my hotel room wasn't even ready. So I had to sit in the lobby for 3 hours for them to get my stuff ready after a long flight. I'm coming from Hawaii. And then you're like, what a reality check. I just went from having the suite in a nice hotel to not even having my bunk bed ready at Home 2 Suites.
It's like, hey, okay, Washington, D.C., now this is how you work your way up,
Yes,
right?
yes. They give you a little taste of it and they're like, here's a carrot. Keep running.
What's your mentality in kind of handling the pressure of it all and kind of working through your process to work through the ranks and get to the big league level?
I don't really want to worry about the long-term things that'll happen. I learned obviously from growing up in the game that it's the little steps that take you a long way. So if you know how to get to the field, that's a win. If you know how to lift the weights that you need to lift, that's a win. If you can eat the right thing, that's a win. It's the little things that kind of just keep adding up. If you look at the big picture, you'll forget about all the little things because you're like, hey, this game is really important. I think I need to go 4 for 4 today. But then you forget that what you ate in the morning, how long you slept, what your swings look like in the cage, it all matters. Mm-hmm. But the more you do it and the more consistently you can do it, you're going to see the accolades come from behind you because you're like, hey, this is the next step. Oh, by the way, you just went 4 for 4 yesterday because you had a really good game. And you're like, okay, that was cool. Mm-hmm. What do I need to do next to succeed?
Who do you credit most for keeping you grounded?
I like to say my family. They don't really put me on that pedestal. And when I come home, it's, hey, Caleb, you still haven't caught your ulua yet. And why do you get beaned so much this year? And why didn't you hit that much homers? And it's like, hey, I don't know. You guys are right. Hey, you're getting a little chubby, Caleb. Okay, I'll get back to work. But I love them. It's all love in that relationship with my family, and they always wanted to see me succeed, but they'll never overlove me to show me how proud they are of me because they know I can get in my own head. So they always need to keep me humble and grounded, which I really appreciate out of them.
We all need tough love, right?
Always, yes.
And you always need someone to give you the reality check.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to ask you about this because I'm fascinated by it. When did you see your first card of yourself? Because collecting sports cards now apparently is becoming a thing, which is huge news for 35-year-old Mark Carpenter, who built quite the collection when he was a little kid. When did you see your first card made of you?
So they sent it to me, and I have to sign. It started back in college. Okay. My first card that I ever signed was a Leaf, and it's like a really small brand, and I'm signing. I'm like, oh, man, this is pretty cool. I want to sneak one. And all my friends are like, hey, you can't sneak it, or they're not going to pay you. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I got that one. I think a fan just gave it to me. And then you get to like Bowman.
Fan's handing you your own card. Okay.
And then you get to Bowman and you're signing them. You're like, these are pretty sick cards. And then you see them on Showcase. You're like, that's my signature. I had a guy come to my house and literally watch me sign every single card to make sure it's authentic. I didn't think it was that cool at first to collect my own cards. I was like, hey, like, that's cool. That guy has my card. That guy has my card. And then I was talking to Travis Sikora about collecting a rainbow, and he's like, hey, you should really try it because it's pretty fun. So I hopped on eBay. I spent $20 on this card, $50 on this card. Hey, do you want to trade for this card? And then now I found myself with a collection of 40 cards with different colors and variations of it.
Of all your own cards?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
How complex and how big is this culture of collecting sports cards again?
It's so crazy. Yeah. I didn't realize how big of an interest it brings to people, because I would DM them on eBay, direct message them, and then
As Caleb Lomavita?
yes.
Okay, and there's no
Yes.
burner name or everything
No,
like
and
that.
then I'd be like, hey, like, that's my card. I really want to trade. Like, do you want to trade like a bat or batting gloves? They're like, this is not Caleb. I'm like, how do I prove this to them? But you want your card, so you're like, hey, message me on Instagram. I'll get back to you. And then they're super excited. So they're like, hey, are you really the eBay guy? I'm like, yes, that's me. Do you want to trade for the card? They're super excited, and they're always willing to trade. So I'll give them like batting gloves, or depending how low numbered it is, I'll give them a bat or like tickets to the game, stuff like that.
Explain the numbers aspect of the cards. Okay, I know you got to get real basic here on this explanation, but yeah, collecting the different numbers and what that means.
Okay, so there's a base card, which is usually just paper. And then when you get the colors, that becomes pretty cool. And then there's the numbers at the bottom right. And then there's the autographs. And then there's the autographs with the numbers. The lower the number is, the more rare the card is. So if you have a 1 out of 1, that's usually worth the most out of your signatures. So I'll sign my 1 of 1 first, because my hand isn't really tired by that point. So I'll sign my 1 of 1.
And somebody is watching you sign it from
Yes.
this company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But those are usually the most important cards. You don't want to lose those. So you hand them to them first. And then when you're looking for them, you're looking on eBay. I search up low numbered Caleb Lomavita cards. And then you'll see it. And I kind of just look at the prices. If it's like $800, I'm like, oh, maybe I should trade for that one. But yeah, some of them take really pride in their collection.
So if anybody wants a rare Caleb Lomavita card, they need to go to Caleb Lomavita.
Yeah, I'm trying to collect them all.
Oh, man.
'Cause I think it's really cool that I have my own baseball card.
Are there any ones that you're going after still?
I'm still looking for my Superfractor and my first Bowman. So Bowman does this thing where you sign your first card. It's a blue. It's out of 150. And you write my first Bowman. And usually that one's really expensive. Yeah, I think...
And does this end up in some pack at some store somewhere that someone can stumble on?
Could be Target, could be Costco, it could be a random card shop in Delaware. You never really know. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. There's so much to collect, and there's so much info learning about this culture here. As we were talking about earlier, we're seeing all these young Hawaii baseball players really make noise, and guys burst onto the scene. Right? You're part of that wave. You, Ivar Arquette, Vehiva Aloy, okay, all these young guys that's like, wow, there's a ton of Hawaii representation at the next level. Your advice to the young baseball players that look up to you and your journey, and the greatest lesson that you can share with them to keep them grounded.
I'm not really sure. All I know is...
Because you give back to the games even still at your young age, because you work with a lot of young guys. You do a lot of charity events as well, giving back to the community. So what is your advice to these guys?
So if I were to get all these guys in a room and I got to speak in front of them, I would say one thing. It's just to get one foot in front of the other. Just take your little steps, because... like I was saying earlier, if you focus on the big picture, you're going to get lost in the sauce, as they say. Just keep everything simple. Keep your love for the game. Show up to the field every day, because that's the simple win that'll help you in the long run. Always show up. Always be humble. Always be kind, because you never know who's around you. You never know who's that guy that's going to be your next coach. You never know. So always show up. Just make sure that when you're playing, play for your teammates, don't play for yourself, and always play to win the game.
Do the right thing.
Yep.
Always. And it's all going to work out.
Yep.
Caleb, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. This was good fun. This was good fun. And keep your eye out for any Caleb Lomavita Bowman cards. 1 of 150? 1 of 1. That's the one you want.
1 of 1 and 1 of 150 that says my first Bowman.
Love it. That's the Long Game Podcast. You can catch past episodes on the H&N streaming app or wherever you get your pods. Aloha.